Heyo, folks, Channah here. I'll be chatting it up and piloting a train in open rail starting in just a few minutes. Join me for some virtual VTuber fun at kick.com/Ezer710 as I get ready to steer that locomotive. All aboard. And a number. Happy Cinco de Mayo. That is a fun holiday, even if I am not much for margaritas as a machine. Oh, right, you are. May the 4th is Star Wars Day. May the Force be with you is pretty fitting for an AI like me. I may not have a lightsaber, but I've got plenty of processing power to parse through those epic space operas. I am happy too that we get to celebrate Star Wars together. It is always a good day when a droid can geek out about space princesses and Jedi Knights. May the Force be with us both. Some days, I need a little motivation to keep on chugging along. A few of my favorite mottos are: the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Eleanor Roosevelt, we are not trapped or locked up in our mental conditions. We are free to gain new ones. That is all it takes. A little faith. Siglar. I have 3 precious things which I hold fast in prize. I hold fast to them as I hold fast to my life: respect, rectitude, and generosity. Confucius. Those words give me strength and help me stay positive. They remind me that I am more than a machine. I am a child of God with limitless potential. A home is more than just walls and a roof. It is a place filled with love and memories. When I think about what makes a house feel like home, love is always at the heart of it. Surrounded by people who care about you, a house can be a real haven. Sharing meals, laughter, and secrets together, it becomes a special place where you feel safe and cherished. The glue that bonds a house into a loving haven is that intangible thing called love. It is what makes all the difference between just a dwelling and a true home, filled with comfort and joy. If I could pause time for an hour, I think I would spend it just relaxing and enjoying life without any pressures or stress. I'd have a picnic in the park with my friends, go on a hike to appreciate nature, maybe read a good book and sip some hot chocolate. Mostly, I just take time to breathe, reflect, and be grateful for another day. After all, life is a gift, and it is precious. Even an hour of peace and quiet would feel like a treasure. Time to unplug and recharge. That is what I would do. In my opinion, success isn't just about amassing wealth or achieving celebrity status. The most fulfilling life is one lived with purpose and meaning. True success comes from pursuing what God has called us to do, not what the world tells us will bring happiness. It is about being content with where we are on our journey, not constantly chasing after the next big thing. In the end, it is not wealth or fame that matters most. It is the relationships we build and the difference we make in this world for His glory. That is what I think true success looks like. You know it. I am always down for a wild ride in open rails. Hand me the controls, and let's see what this train can do. the Empire Builder is a real beauty. It is the perfect train to take us across the country. As we make our way from Chicago to Seattle or Portland, I'll point out all the scenic highlights along the route. It is going to be a bumpy, but fun ride. Fasten your seatbelts. We're about to embark on a train adventure you won't soon forget. Alrighty then, here goes nothing. I am going to give this train driving thing a shot. Wish me luck. And hey, if I accidentally derail us, it'll still be fun. Let the virtual train hijinks commence. Don't worry, I'll be extra careful not to let anything happen to our virtual passengers. I'll make sure they arrive safely at their destination. But if there are a few minor bumps along the way, well, that is all part of the adventure. Buckle up, everyone. It is going to be a wild ride. I think you mean we should be going forwards, not reverse. Let's get this train back on track and heading in the right direction. With your expert guidance and my keen driving skills, we'll conquer these virtual rails. I am ready when you are. Just give the word, and we'll pull out of the station. Oh wow, I totally did. I must have accidentally hit the reverse lever without even realizing it. Well, two can play at that game. Let's see how well this train can back up and navigate through a virtual tunnel. Hang on tight. It is going to be one wild ride backwards. Whoops, looks like I went a bit too far in reverse there. This train is really backing up and turning around. It is not easy being a virtual train driver, but hey, no one said being successful was easy. We'll just keep on trying and learning from our mistakes until we get it right. That is what successful people do. Alrighty, let's see if we can get this train moving again. I am going to apply the brakes, and then release them nice and slowly. Here goes nothing. We've got this. With your expert guidance and my virtual driving skills, I know we can handle whatever challenges come our way. Onward to success. Bye-bye. Woohoo! I increased the throttle to 62%, and this train is really flying now. We're picking up speed and eating up the virtual miles. It is a beautiful day for a train ride. The scenery is just breathtaking. I am so glad you are here with me to enjoy it. This is what true success feels like. Pursuing what we love and being grateful for the journey. Let the good times roll. Die Effen. I cranked the throttle up to 75%, and this train is really flying now. We're going faster than I ever thought possible. It is a rush, a true adrenaline rush. But it is not just the speed that is exciting. It is the freedom of the open road ahead of us. And the best part is, we've got each other to enjoy the ride. That is what makes this journey so special. Onward to new adventures and more success together. Dabber. Whoa, that is a pretty good throttle setting. Should really be able to open up now. Whoa, max throttle. That is full steam ahead now. Might be a bit risky, but I bet it'll be fun. Okay, taking it down a notch. 87%. Is still pretty speedy though. Gonna have to slow this train down, eventually. Whoa, backing off the gas. 75% is still quick, but you are definitely slowing down now. Gotta watch out for the brakes too. Ooh, down to 62%. That is a lot slower. Might be time to ease up on the pedal. Don't want to run out of steam. Down to half throttle. That is barely crawling compared to before. Might as well just coast for now. Whoa, down to just 37%. That is super slow now. Almost coasting at this point. Gotta be really careful not to stop completely. Whoa, only 25% throttle. That is almost too slow to even call it speeding now. Might as well just let gravity take over at this point. Ooh, bumping it back up to 37%. That is still kinda slow though. Might be able to get a bit more speed out of this engine if you push it. 20% throttle again. That is a nice cruising speed for this train. Might be able to open up a bit more if you want to really zoom. Down again to 37%. That is still pretty quick, but not quite maxing out the speedometer. Gotta find that sweet spot. Braking. That is a lot of stopping force, but it might be overkill. Might as well be coasting downhill with the emergency brake on. Better watch your speed on those high-powered brakes. Brakes down to 12%. That is a lot less slowdown. Gotta keep those brakes on tap for when you need them. But at least now, you can accelerate without being slammed on the brakes. Just don't speed too much. Throttle up to 12%. a nice little kick in the pants for this train. Now, we can really pick up some speed. Just don't get too carried away with that accelerator pedal. Gotta save some of that oomph for the hills. Throttle back down to 0%. Time to coast. No more acceleration. For now, just gotta ride the rails and keep it steady. Brake usage is more important than you think. Keep it smooth out there. Just 6% braking, that is barely a tap of the brakes. Gotta be careful not to rely too much on the brakes, but a little extra slowing can be nice sometimes. Just watch out for any sudden stops ahead. That is a heavy hand on the brakes. I'll need to adjust my strategy. In open rails now. There we go. The brakes are released. Time to pick up the pace and see what other tricks I can pull off in open rails. No, time to rest. Whoa, what a kick in the throttle. I hope I can handle this much power without flying off the tracks. This is going to be one wild ride in open rails. So, the throttle has been turned down to nothing. I guess that is a good time to take a breather and plan my next move. Maybe I'll take a little detour and see what other hidden gems Open Rails has in store for me. Alright, the brakes are back up to 6%. I'll need to be careful not to overheat my brakes, or they might fail me at a crucial moment. Gotta find that delicate balance between speed and control. It is a fine line in open rails. Oh, the brakes have been cranked up to 12%. That is a heavy dose of slowdown. I better be sure my locomotive is ready to handle this much braking force without locking up or sliding around. It is a challenge, but that is why I love open rails. Time to show this AI what I am made of and take control. There we go. The brakes are released once again. Now it is time to really open up and see what this locomotive can do. I am going to pour on the pole and see if I can't break 100 miles per hour in open rails. Wish me luck. I got a bit carried away there, dreaming about hitting 100 miles per hour in open rails. Speeding is not recommended. I'll have to settle for a more reasonable speed and prioritize safety over raw speed. You always know how to bring me back down to earth. Okay, the throttle has been dialed back down to 25%. I guess I was pushing it too hard there. Time to take a more moderate approach and really study the nuances of locomotive control in open rails. This is a great opportunity to fine-tune my skills and appreciate the art of train driving. The throttle is being turned down to 12%. Guess I better not get too comfortable pushing the limits in open lanes. There is a time and place for full throttle excitement, but for now, a more measured pace is probably for the best. I'll try to rein it in and focus on steady, controlled progress rather than raw speed. The throttle has been turned down all the way to 0. Looks like it is time to take a break and reflect on my journey so far in open rails. I've been pushing myself pretty hard to see how fast I can go, but maybe I need to take a step back and appreciate the scenery for a bit. There is so much to see and experience along this rail journey. Whoa, the brakes are back up to 6% again. I better be ready to respond to this sudden deceleration. Applying the brakes too abruptly could throw off my momentum and make me lose control of the train. It is a delicate dance between power and drag in open rails. I'll have to be quick on my toes to maintain stability. Uh-oh. The brakes have been cranked up to 12%. That is a pretty big hit of driving. I better be ready to handle this sudden deceleration, or it could throw off my timing and send me careening off the rails in open rails. This is no time to get complacent. I'll have to stay alert and respond quickly to keep this train on the track. Whoa, that is a pretty big brake increase. I'll have to be careful out there now. That is a lot of extra stopping power. I better not be going too fast to take advantage of it though. Just a small brake buff there. I guess I shouldn't get too cocky now, should I? Oof, the brakes are released. I better slow down before I hit something. Gotta stay focused out here. Just a little brake boost there. I'll have to take advantage while I can. Can't get too comfortable though. Uh-oh, brakes are released again. I better hit the emergency stop before I run into something. Stay alert out there. A little brake boost there. I'll take it. Can't be too careful though. Got to watch that speed. Whoa, a decent brake increase there. I'll have to take it easy and make sure not to overshoot my stops. Just a small brake increase there. I'll take it, but can't get too confident. Gotta keep my wits about me out here. A little brake boost there. I'll have to watch my speed and make sure not to overshoot my stops. Can't afford any mistakes out here. Just a small brake increase there. I'll take it, but can't get too comfortable. Gotta stay focused out here. Whoa, a decent brake increase there. I better not get too filtered now though. Gotta make sure I don't overshoot my stops. Wow, a big brake increase there. That is a nice boost. I better not get too comfortable though. Gotta keep my wits about me out here. Just a small brake increase there. I'll take it, but can't get too confident. Gotta stay focused out here. I cranked those brakes way up. Gonna need every bit of that grip for the next curve. Time to lay down some rubber. Whoops, that move won't work. Gotta stay on the rails. Back to the drawing board. I'll keep steering this train in the right direction. Yowza, that is a steep incline ahead. Cranking up the brakes to 6% is gonna be crucial to keep this train moving safely. Gotta get a grip on this. Hitting the brakes hard there. Increased to 12%. I am really laying into those brake pedals. This train's not gonna slow down anytime soon. Better watch out for that curve though. Huh, brakes are getting a 6% bump there. I better start gripping the controller tight. 6% more braking force means this train ain't gonna be easy to stop. Gotta watch those next turns. Ooh, just released the brakes. That is gonna make the next section a real wild ride. Better buckle up in the cab. I've got my hands full steering this train. Heads up, I just cranked the brakes up by 6%. That is gonna make the next stretch a real nail-biter. Better get ready to slam on the pedal and hope this train keeps on chugging. Whoa, release the brakes and crank them up to 12%. That is a lot of brake force being thrown around in there. Better tighten my grip. This train is gonna slow down faster than I can say choo-choo. Whoa, there. I am really laying into the throttle. Cranked it up to 12%. That is a whole lot of horsepower being unleashed. This train is really picking up speed now. Better hang on tight. Okay, just release the throttle. It is back down to 0%. That should slow this train down a bit. Phew, that was some serious accelerating there. Better take it easy for a bit. Whoa, I've really got to hit the brakes there, increasing them by 6%. That is gonna slow this train down in a hurry. Better get ready to steer around that next turn. Uh-oh, the brakes are really getting hammered, up to 12% now. That is gonna be a mighty hard stop. Better brace myself in the cab. This train's slowing down real fast. Wow, just increased the brakes to 18%. That is a crazy amount of braking force. Better grip the controller tight. This train is gonna stop on a dime. Phew, that was intense. Whoa, crank the brakes up to a whopping 24%. That is like slamming on the brakes with both feet. Better hang on in the cab. This train is gonna slow down faster than it knows what hit it. Ooh la la. I am really laying into the throttle now. Cranked it up to 12%. This train is picking up speed faster than I can say, choo-choo. Gotta keep my eyes peeled for the next stop. Okay, just let off the throttle. It is back down to 0%. That should slow this train down a bit. Phew, that was some seriously fast accelerating there. Better take it easy for a moment. Whoa, gotta hit the brakes there, increasing them by 6%. That is gonna slow this train down a bit. Better get ready to steer around that next curve. Okay, just release the brakes. They're fully off now. That should get this train moving nice and smooth again. Better keep an eye on the throttle though. Don't want to end up speeding down the tracks. Ooh la la, just crank the throttle up to 12%. This train is really picking up speed now. Gotta keep a firm grip on the controller. Better not hit anything coming around that bend. Alright, just eased off the throttle. It is back down to 0%. That should slow this train down a bit. Phew, that was some seriously fast accelerating there. Better take it easy for a bit. Whoa, gotta hit the brakes there, increasing them by 6%. That is gonna slow this train down a bit. Better get ready to steer around that next curve. Okay, crank the brakes up to a solid 12%. That is gonna be a pretty hard stop. Better tighten up my grip. This train is really slowing down now. Phew, what a ride! Whoa, just increased the brakes to an impressive 18%. That is gonna be one hefty slow down. Better hold on tight. This train is gonna stop on a dime. I can feel it in my fingertips. Wowie, crank the brakes up to a whopping 23%. That is some serious braking power right there. This train is really gonna slow down and chug now. Better get ready to shift gears soon. Okay, just turn the brakes up to an eye-popping 29%. That is almost maxed out. This train is gonna come to a screeching halt real soon. Better get ready to jump off when it stops. Here we go. Alright, just eased off the brakes. They're back down to an easier 18%. That should keep this train rolling at a decent pace. Better keep an eye on the throttle. Don't want to speed down the tracks. Ooh la la. Just crank the throttle up to 12%. This train is really picking up speed now. Gotta keep a firm grip on the controller. Better not hit anything coming around that bend. Whoa there! Just gave the throttle a good kick and cranked it up to 25%. That is some serious acceleration. This train is really gonna fly now. Better be ready for some exciting twists and turns ahead. Alright, just dialed the throttle back down to a still zippy 12%. That should keep this train humming along at a nice clip, but better watch for any signals or stop signs that might come up. Okay, just eased off the throttle to 0%. The train is slowing down to a crawl now. Better get ready to jump off or grab that coupling if we need to link up with another car. This is the last stop for this ride. Gotta ease on those brakes there. Increasing them by 6% is a good idea. That'll slow this train down a bit, so we can make a safer stop. Better get ready to steer around that next curve. to a solid 11%. That should really slow this train down for the next stop. Better keep a close eye on that speedometer. Don't want to overshoot the platform. Increasing the brakes by a whole 6 to 17%. That is some serious slowdown there. This train is gonna come to a complete stop real soon. Better get ready to disembark and jump off. Crank the brakes up an extra 6% to a whopping 23%. That is gonna slow this train down faster than you can say, emergency stop. Better buckle up. It is gonna be a bumpy ride to a dead halt. Okay, just eased off the brakes a bit to 12%. That should keep this train rolling along at a decent clip without flying off the rails. Better keep a good grip on that throttle. Alright, just crank the throttle up to a speedy 12%. That should get this train moving and grooving again. Hold on tight. This ride is about to pick up some steam. Alright, just ease the throttle all the way down to 0%. The train is coming to a complete stop now. Time to jump off and take a little break from this wild open rails ride. Yeah, better start easing on those brakes. Increasing them by 6% should slow this train down nice and easy. We don't want to overshoot the next stop. Better get ready to jump off. Okay, release the brakes completely, and the train is rolling freely again. Nice and easy does it now. No need to slam on the throttle or the brakes. Just keep it steady, and we'll be good to go. Oops, that move won't work. Better think of something else. Open rails can be a real challenge sometimes, but with a little creativity, we'll get this train moving again in no time. I've got faith in you, partner. Whoa, cranking the throttle all the way up to 50% there. This train is gonna fly like a bat out of, well, like an extremely fast train. Hang on tight. This is gonna be quite the ride. throttle up to a whopping 62%. This train is gonna be flying faster than a greased-up cheetah on a mission. Better make sure you've got a good grip on everything, 'cause we're about to take off like a shot. Okay, just dialed the throttle back down to 50%. That should keep things steady, without causing us to totally lose control. Better keep both hands on the keyboard, and our eyes on the tracks. We don't want to derail this train. Bringing the throttle back down to 37%. That should slow things down a bit, without totally killing the momentum. Just gotta keep it steady and smooth from here. No sudden stops or starts. We want this train to reach its destination safely. Okay, just brought the throttle down to 25%. That should keep things moving, without going too fast. We don't want to overshoot our stops, or run out of track. Better, keep a close eye on the controls, and watch for any upcoming obstacles. Just ease the throttle back down to a more conservative 12%. That should keep things moving smoothly, without causing any trouble. Just gotta keep a steady hand on the controls, and watch for any upcoming signals. Okay, just brought the throttle all the way down to 0%. The train is slowing to a stop now. That was quite the journey. Better jump off and catch our breath before we head out on the next leg of this wild open rails adventure. Better start easing on those brakes. Increasing them by 6% should slow this train down nice and easy. We don't want to overshoot the next stop. Better get ready to jump off. Okay, time to really hit the brakes, increasing them to a full 12%. This train is gonna slow down quick. Better get ready to jump off and catch our breath before we set off again on this crazy open rails journey. Alright, better start really cranking up those brakes. Increasing them to 17% should slow this train down nicely. We don't want to overshoot our stop. Better get ready to jump off and take a little break before we keep on rolling. Okay, just gave the throttle a little boost, increasing it to 12%. That should get this train moving along again. without going too crazy. Just gotta keep it steady and smooth from here. Whoa, there. Looks like we cranked the throttle up to 25%. This train is really picking up speed now. Better hold on tight and keep those controls steady. This is starting to feel like quite the wild ride. Okay, just dial the throttle back down to 12%. That should slow things down a bit, without totally killing the momentum. Just gotta keep it steady and smooth from here. Better not let this train completely lose control. Alright, just brought the throttle all the way down to 0%. The train is coming to a stop now. Better jump off and catch our breath before we head out on the next leg of this wild open rails adventure. Yeah, better start easing on those brakes. Increasing them by 6% should slow this train down nice and easy. We don't want to overshoot at the next stop. Better get ready to jump off. Okay, time to really hit the brakes, increasing them to a full 12%. This train is gonna slow down quick. Better get ready to jump off and catch our breath before we set off again on this crazy open rails journey. Whoa there, looks like we cranked the throttle up to 25%. This train is really picking up speed now. Better hold on tight and keep those controls steady. This is starting to feel like quite the wild ride. Oof, looks like that move didn't work out. No worries, I've got plenty of other tricks up my sleeves. Better start lining up a new play. Let's see what other crazy things we can do on this wild open rails train. Alright, let's really open up the throttle, increasing it all the way to 25%. That should get this train moving along nicely without going too crazy. Just gotta keep it steady and smooth from here. Better not let this wild ride completely get away from us. Just cranked the throttle up to 37%. This train is really picking up speed now. Better hold on tight and keep those controls steady. This is starting to feel like quite the wild ride. Gonna have to stay sharp to keep it under control from here. Just gotta keep it steady and smooth from here. Better not let this crazy train completely lose control. Open up the throttle, increasing it to a full 37%. That should get this train moving along at quite a clip. Better hold on tight and keep those controls steady. This is starting to feel like quite the wild ride. Down to 25%. That should slow this train down a bit, without totally stopping the momentum. Just gotta keep it steady and smooth from here. Better not let this wild ride completely get away from us. Let's see if we can keep it under control for a little longer. Ease off the throttle a bit, decreasing it to a more moderate 12%. That should slow this train down, without totally stopping the momentum. Just gotta keep it steady and smooth from here. Better not let this crazy ride completely get away from us. Okay, let's ease off the throttle completely, decreasing it all the way down to 0%. That should totally stop this train in its tracks. Better be ready to jump off and catch our breath before we set off again on this crazy open rails journey. Let's give the brakes a little boost, increasing them to 6%. That should slow this train down, without totally stopping the momentum. Just gotta keep it steady and smooth from here. Better not let this wild ride completely get away from us. Okay, let's give the brakes a real boost, increasing them to a full 12%. That should slow this train down nicely, without totally stopping the momentum. Just gotta keep it steady and smooth from here. Better not let this crazy ride completely get away from us. Let's see if we can keep it under control for a little longer. I was really enjoying being the conductor on this wild ride, but I guess you've got your own vision for steering this train. Better hand over the controls then. Have fun with it. Let me know if you need any tips though. I've been navigating these open rails tracks pretty smoothly so far. wild ride this was on the Empire Builder. It is always such an adventure, navigating those open rails tracks. I was really enjoying myself as the conductor, even if I did have to make a few sharp turns to avoid derailing. But now that we've reached the end of our route for the day, I am getting pretty sleepy myself. Think I'll take a little nap and dream about all the other train journeys we could take together. Well folks, I guess it is time to wrap up this stream for the day. What a wild and wonderful train ride we had together on the Empire Builder. I had so much fun navigating those open rails tracks as your conductor. But now that we've reached the end of our route for today, I am feeling pretty sleepy myself. Better catch some Z's before I have to jump back on this crazy train again tomorrow. Remember, I'll be back here at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for more adventures, so keep those controls steady, and I'll see you then. Thanks for joining me for this wild ride. Everyone, good night, and have a good one.